All right, so we are going to be looking at a bunch of different space cards. So these are cards that give you information about all the different people that were involved. So you have the American astronauts, and then the Soviet Union called their astronauts cosmonauts. So if you go through, you see you have a bunch of different tabs at the bottom. So we are going to go and look through all of these different astronauts and cosmonauts and find information on them.
What is cosmonaut?
Cosmonauts are the Soviet Union's version of astronauts. When we get done, I have a bunch of little cards here, and they have names of each of these people. We're going to go through and you're going to research them. You're going to look at primary sources and secondary sources, and you're going to write a blog as that person. So let's go ahead and look at each of these individuals. We have, let's see how many we have total. 20 total.
We're going to look at 20 of those.
So go ahead and take a few minutes to look through them.
Oh, just look at the people?
You're going to look at their cards, their space cards, and it gives you a brief overview of how they participated in the space race. So there's Yuri.
This girl was the first girl in space, and she lasted 2 days. Almost 3.
She was in space for 2 days?
Yeah.
She died in space.
I don't know. Go through and look.
That's crazy. That's
You get a little time to investigate.
I was seeing the order that she died.
Last 1 hour and 48 cause of death. Plane crash. Who is that?
It doesn't even say her causative.
Yuri was only 5 foot 2 inches tall, which made it easier for him to fit in the capsule's small cockpit. He was killed.
This guy in space was in space for 21 days, 15 hours, and 24 minutes.
He was killed when an unauthorized fighter jet flew too close to his plane during a training exercise. Rescuers at first thought he was ejected, but his remains were later identified by a mole on his neck.
He did a 10-minute spacewalk. 26 hours and 10-minute spacewalk. Now I would get bored so easy.
Walking in space, you'd get bored?
Yes.
Yes, I'm just walking. I'm floating. Two days and 3 hours crash after. Oh. His parachute had a failure.
He died on the next day.
Sounded like it was pretty dangerous to be involved in all of this.
They're Russians, they don't care. One day and 17 minutes. That's sad. One day and 1 hour.
It was just for 1 hour. He died from a plane crash. He didn't even make it up in space.
4 days, 23 hours, 7 minutes.
It must be on the same one I am.
Yeah, I'm just going through. Oh, now we're on the astronauts. Neil Armstrong. 8 days, 14 hours. Buzz Aldrin Jr. 12 days, 1 hour. And he did not die.
Oh, when they got back, they had to spend 18 days in quarantine to prevent spreading any lunar germs they might be carrying.
Sounds like normal days now.
What about?
We all quarantine.
Alan Shepard Jr. 9 days, 57 minutes. Or is that 9 hours? I don't know.
Buzz was not originally named Buzz. It came from when his sister mispronounced brother when they were children, but he legally changed his first name to Buzz in the 1980s.
John Glenn Jr. dry for a day, I bet. He was in space for 5 hours, and he died.
Did he?
Yeah, fire on board Apollo 1. I'm just reading how long they're in space. History. Walter. 12 days, 7 hours, 15 minutes.
Thomas, did you find someone interesting? Edgar Mitchell collected nearly 100 pounds of moon rocks. He was the first one to hit a golf ball on the moon to see how the ball flew in the moon's weaker gravitational field.
Where did it go?
Just kind of floated off.
So I bet the ball was still just going.
I don't know. That is something that we could research. Where did it land? Did it land? Is it still floating in space?
It probably is.
Probably alien had.
Hey, what is it?
John Glenn was the oldest person to go into space. He was 77.
When he went to space,
He was how old?
77.
Okay.
how long did he live for? Till
It
2016.
says,
so he's like 100.
yeah, 1921 to 2016. So how old would that be? Pretty old.
Almost 100. Like 90, 93? Something like that.
Well, let's see. 79 plus 16.
79 plus 6. Oh, he's not that old. He was like 40.
This guy was the first U.S. casualty in the space race. He was killed during a test launch of the Apollo 1 mission.
What did they do with the Russians? They just put dogs in them, or like monkeys.
Maybe they did. Another good research question.
I like the Russians were smart.
Neil Armstrong last 2012.
This guy, it says the 3 astronauts on the mission caught head colds during their almost 11 days in space, but returned without rupturing their eardrums as NASA had feared they might, because you know the pressure you get when you're sick.
Yeah.
So they were
It
freaked
doesn't
out.
even look like the Russians' helmets. They didn't have that thing that kept air in it. It just looks like it's open.
That's probably knew when he landed on Earth.
All right. So go to your tab number 3. Here is a list of all of our Soviet cosmonauts and our American astronauts. I'm going to let you pick these cards, and you're going to write the name of your astronaut or cosmonaut in that little thing. So I'm going to mix them up. Try not to let you see them.
One Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong.
All right. Pick one. Don't read them. I'm going to give you one.
No, I want Neil Armstrong.
That's what I was.
Bam.
Oh, no.
He's a good one. He was the very first one we looked at.
Oh.
I want a different one. This one sucks. Alan Shepard. He lasted an hour, I think.
You got Boris. All right, so write the name of your astronaut or cosmonaut in the blank.
You had to go that hour.
What's it going to be to research about him? We lasted an hour.
All right, now you're going to find your cosmonaut. Click through the cards in this activity and find your cosmonaut space card. If you're assigned an astronaut, view the astronaut profiles
Yeah, I got
in section 5. So cosmonauts are on tab number 4, astronauts are on tab number 5.
So I put astronauts.
Huh?
Cosmonaut?
Yeah.
Yes. And then you're going to fill in the details below. So the name, the country of origin or birthplace where they were born, the date they launched, their spacecraft or mission name, the most notable, important, interesting, or unusual achievement, one or two interesting or noteworthy facts about yourself, because you are now that person, or your mission.
Yeah, I wanna see if this guy's
So we
still
put
alive.
all of his date of birth on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we tell him our story.
Date of launch, not date of birth. So you're gonna go through, find your card, and then you're going to find those details. Their most important achievement and something interesting about them. Thomas, did you find your guy? I think he's a cosmonaut. Here, go to there. Go to here.
This astronaut just died, like,
Alright,
How
you
old
have Boris, so let's scroll down.
Question Russia? Question Russia?
And find Boris.
Question Russia?
Not too
Question Russia?
he's got,
Yep, next. And next.
how old was he?
There he is. Okay,
My guy was,
so if you scroll down a little bit,
And old as you.
he just
your
died.
name is this.
It's not even my guy. He was 90 and
You
he
should
died.
have all the information on the card, on Amplify.
I know, I was just looking.
Okay.
It wasn't even my guy, I was just checking if he was still alive. Beats me. Oh my gosh. Kinda crappy one.
Oh yes, you be.
Alright, country of origin or
Actually,
birthplace,
it's
so
all-
you scroll back up,
I should not be talking about it.
Your guy
and
must
it
have
says his birthplace was Moscow, Russia. So write Moscow, Russia in that space.
Did I leave? No, I'm still here for the computer.
Yes.
Were you even here? I got. Yeah.
Right, so write your name, did you find him?
I didn't know, I can't find it. I don't know.
Alan Shepard is astronaut, so he'll be in 5. If it's American, he'll be under 5. If he's Russian, he'll be under 4. He or she. Alright, then did you write Moscow, Russia? That's what's gonna
Pop
go
that
in here.
mode.
David,
Oh, my God.
Ali.
It's capital MOSCOW,
Oh man.
Moscow.
Shepherd.
I don't wanna know his death, I don't care when he died.
He died from a plane crash, bro.
They don't ask that, do they?
Country, you know, he was born in East Derry, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
East.
They all have very interesting call signs. She was known as the Seagull.
Oh, at least I can get her.
Yeah.
I'll
I'm gonna be
down.
called Steve. Oh crap.
And then what's the next one?
Dude, he
Date of
was-
launch. So if you go back up. Says date of launch, October 12th, 1964.
Element. You are. Where's David Kings? Maybe.
The houses they lived in is the houses that people don't like to live in.
What do you mean?
Those houses are for the streets.
That house is nine.
You know you was your friend.
It's
That
a
house get hit by lightning, one strike, it would be flamed up in minutes. Cause it got wood all over it.
Still, it's a house. A house is a house.
No, the house I have is not a house. I need that clock, I saw right
That's what you care about, huh?
there.
Alright, y'all getting that information filled in?
Yup.
No most notable.
Oh, he died when he was 34. That's important, because nobody really wanted it.
Collected nearly 100 pounds of movie.
Speak a little something for the culture, for the vibes, for my wives, for my friends.
Mm.
All right, y'all take about 2 more minutes, fill out those profiles.
Yeah.
You got it all?
Hello.
What are a couple interesting details that you can find about that person?
It's all on this little thing.
The fact that he was the first person to hit a golf ball on the moon is pretty interesting, I'd say.
He hit
I'd like to hit a golf ball on the moon.
a golf ball. I'd like to go to the moon.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool.
Someday that might be possible.
And
No,
Little vacations up to the moon real quick.
it probably is. Elon Musk is smart.
Yeah. I bet you could sell some tickets
That's the good advertisement. Go to the moon for $50.
for $50.
Just sign your rifle with him for $50.
the curse of the dad. No more seeing love with a girl.
I'm gonna do that in my backyard. $50, you just gotta sign a waiver that you can't sue me.
No, they over here get on an airplane that doesn't even move. How do you take this color away? They put a color on it. I'm just trying to copy that.
All right, we have our interesting details, interesting facts going on.
I don't want
I have to do it a whole different way to get it on
Get
my
100
screen.
pounds of. My guy's a weird man.
Why?
Hit a golf ball on the moon.
Well, I mean, if you're on the moon, why not hit a golf ball?
I'm done.
I mean,
Some light, easy.
hold up.
Oh, I just put more. We're at the fourth one already.
Oh no. We're not close. We're going to
See,
exit.
there's wind in the space when you look up the first moon.
There's what?
Look,
Wind in space.
there's no way that's real.
Are you on a credible website?
It's on Google. Pretty credible to me.
Okay.
Ain't fake to me.
Everywhere.
All right, Carson, introduce yourself. Who are you? Give me some details.
I am Alan Shepard Jr. I was born in East Derry, New Hampshire. The date of launch, May 5th, 1961. Spacecraft mission I went on, Freedom 7.
Freedom 7.
Yeah.
What's
Most notable thing, I collected 100 pounds of movie rock. One interesting thing I did was I hit a golf ball on the moon.
any idea what happened to it?
I don't know.
No. Okay. Who are you?
No, this is me. You're a gang.
Yuri.
You're a ganger.
Sounds right to me. Sure.
Yeah. You're
Tell
a
me about
ganger.
yourself.
My name is You're a ganger. In
Yuri.
the country, where I lived, when I was raised, was Kasherman, Russia. Launch date was April 12, 1961. Spacecraft mission name was Vanchard 1. Most interesting thing, important, is however, this was the only time Graham flew in space. He was killing during it.
He was killed during flight.
One thing did, that was interesting. I was the first I was the youngest astronaut at the age of 27 to fly without giving my family a hug.
Okay, Thomas.
Didn't he die when he was 25?
Thomas, who are you?
Thomas is.
Boris.
My name is
Boys.
You are Boris. Where were you born? How do you say that? Moscow. And when did you go to space? You tell me. What does that say? October 12th, 1964. Oh, what is your most notable fact or interesting detail?
Yeah.
The first what in space? Yes, good job, Thomas. First doctor in space. All right. We are going to now define and discuss primary and secondary sources. So, if y'all go to tab number 7,
I'm telling you.
who can read what the definitions of primary source and secondary source and tertiary source are?
This is probably. No, that's. Oh, no, that's
Who can tell me the definitions? Primary source, what does it mean?
We got 6.
7.
Oh,
Yeah, tab number 7.
wait, I need to turn it in.
Oh yeah, turn it in and then go to next activity. The tab number 6 was where you just introduced yourself, so you guys did that. So if there's a turn in tab, put that too.
what number?
We are now going to be on tab number 7, so. Alright, so what does primary source mean?
Primary source means primary. The main thing, like the top one scale up there. Oh.
Our original documents, creative work, and artifacts created during a specific time period. They include eyewitnesses, accounts, and published articles that report information and or events for the first time, such as.
Alright, so a primary source is somebody that was there, that experienced the event. So look at this picture. Would this be a primary source?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, the photographer was there. He was in person. He was witness to it.
He was on a high top building.
He was up somewhere. What about secondary source? What is that?
Created later by someone who did not experience firsthand an events you are researching. They often prevent and allies of primary source.
Alright, so somebody who goes back after the fact, researches it, and gives us information about it. Scroll down a little. Alright, so publications, newspaper, magazines, and journal articles, histories, biographies, textbooks, and web pages. Tertiary sources provide an overview or summary of primary and secondary sources such as encyclopedias, almanacs, timelines, dictionaries. Alright, hit next. Drag an example of a source, and you're going to identify whether it's primary, secondary, or tertiary. So your first one says a dictionary of aerospace and aeronautical terms. What did they say dictionary was?
Primary. I mean, secondary. Yeah, it's primary. No, it's secondary. No, it's chapter. Sure.
Dictionary is what?
Sure.
Encyclopedias.
Encyclopedia, yes. It is tertiary.
Oh, that's what the word is called.
Wait, what?
Tertiary.
Tertiary. A book is tertiary.
A book on history of the space race.
Tertiary.
If I go back and I research and I pull things together and I write a book about it, is that gonna be primary, secondary, or tertiary?
Primary, secondary.
I wasn't there, I'm just writing about it.
E is primary.
A photograph of the Apollo 11 Saturn space vehicle, yep,
D
that
is-
would be primary.
C is primary.
C is primary. A memo written to John F. Kennedy.
D,
D is A.
no, D is tertiary.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, B is tertiary.
I'm gonna give you a clue, there's two for each.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, F and A is for tertiary.
Good,
B and D is for secondary.
yes.
And E and C.
Okay, so secondary, we included a book on the history of the space race, because I researched it and I wrote a book about it. And then a website about lesser known contributors to the space race. I collected information, I was not there, but I am giving you information about it because I researched it. So that would be secondary. All right, so we got them all dropped in the boxes.
Yup.
All right, primary, we said a memo that John F. Kennedy wrote would be, because he did it, and a photograph, because you were there.
Read question. Next one.
Tertiary, you are correct.
Oh, no.
Perfect. All right, save and continue. All right, think about, okay, we are gonna read this together, and then we're gonna answer 2 questions. You wanna read for me? We're gonna read about,
I don't wanna read.
all right, go ahead and hit the speaker button, we'll listen to it.
Wait, let's start at the same time.
Wait.
No, just one of you.
Ready?
Yeah, wait, hold up.
So, is that gonna be a primary or secondary source?
Landing on the moon with all of
Stop.
those
Restart.
sounds scary, but our training prepared us for combat training on fit.
Okay, before we
Landing on
start,
the moon with all of the risks sounds scary, but our training
okay, its title is Buzz Aldrin on his lunar home, the Eagle, from the Wall Street Journal. Is this gonna be primary or secondary?
Primary.
Primary. It's actually written by Buzz Aldrin. He's telling his story. So go ahead, Carson, press play.
prepared us by concentrating on failures and solving big problems under extreme pressure. Once we touched down at the Sea of Tranquility on July 20, the Eagle was our home for the next 21 and a half hours. When I was a kid, my first airplane ride was in a propeller aircraft, painted to look like an eagle and piloted by my father. The lunar module was named Eagle, and an eagle insignia was on our arm patch, so I felt safe. On the moon, we had 1/6 of Earth's gravity, allowing Neil and me to move around easily in the Eagle, to put on equipment for our walk. The module's color scheme wasn't much. The interior was gray and industrial, and there were lots of labels with white and black text. Some handles were yellow, and there was a yellow guard around our telescope. We ate freeze-dried packaged food and had a mix that became an orange grapefruit drink when water was added. There was no coffee. The Columbia
That's what their
opening
food looked
above
like.
had hot water, but not the Eagle. 4 hours after we touched down, Neil went out of the craft first to set up a TV camera pointed at Earth and take photos. I followed 20 minutes later. When I stepped onto the moon's surface, it felt cushiony, not gravelly, thanks to all the dust. There was no crunchy